Alright, hello everybody. I am Altono and welcome back to the Rant Show podcast. On my right and down there in the corner we have Hunter as Donald Trump furry Nazi party. And right below me we have my son Vince.
Hi, nice to meet
Hello.
you. I'm Donald Trump, Nazi furry, yes.
And today we're going to be looking at some controversial topics, but before we do, we're going to talk about not controversial topics so that we don't get immediately harassed. So,
Bro,
this
I don't
month,
really
as you
care.
all know, is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, I've said this in a past video that I've done on my channel, where I've linked stuff in the description for Mental Health Awareness Month, and I've linked everything. There's a few channels that you could look at. Healthy Gamer GG. He's the same person that does mental therapy to like YouTubers and stuff like that. I actually got permission to look at one of his videos, which is what I did. And then uh, there's also another channel called Psych to Go, which is just nice little videos about different topics and how to get better with mental health and that kind of thing. So, anyone have anything to share about the Great Mental Health Awareness Month?
Uh, it's more important. It's that simple.
And first off, I just wanted to point out that hey, I love Psych2Go and welcome to the Rancho podcast.
And now
Um,
we have Anthony down here. Anthony, you have anything to say about Mental Health Awareness Month, which is this month?
Um, I have to say, the mental illness is a huge problem. We don't take care of it and then blame people for having mental illness. It's kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah, exactly. You're expected to get up and work 8 hours a day, and if you can't do that, then that's
Well,
a
and it's
mental
like,
problem.
it's I say, well, the thing is, it's like, okay, people can be dumb, right? But there's all kinds of like mental things and mental damage that can be dealt, and then it's like society deal with problems.
Joker moment.
No, actually, okay, here's a good one. Deal with people's mental issues. Factories in China. Buy therapists. Nah. Install suicide nets because it's fucking cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. I think
It,
mental health is way more downplayed than a lot of people say it is.
Yeah.
And especially now, because I was looking at some statistics. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I have been seeing that mental health all around the world is actually going down, which is really bad.
yeah, well, we just exited like a big global recession in terms of everything. That we're recovering from a freaking, like, recovering is a strong word. You know, pandemic,
Yep.
right? Society's world leaders might as well be freaking clowns because they just are. So, you know.
I
Yeah, pretty
have
much.
had to think a lot about my mental health recently, and I think I've come to the fact that I upsettingly have not been set free 100% of depression yet, which is quite upsetting. So I do have to I do have to mention that I am strongly affected in my current life right now by mental health issues, and to be overshadowed by a bunch of corporations trying to sell to a bunch of people that aren't really accepted in the community is kind of evil. Like, it's really evil to have Pride Month with a bunch of corporations like this. And a lot of people aren't talking about how devastating and horrible it is for people in the LGBT community to have to go through, the corporate shilling of, homosexuality, because then it kind of just keeps dividing individuals rather than creating acceptance in the community, which is creating the exact opposite effect of what Pride Month was supposed to be about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to Pride Month, that's like the whole problem I have is how much it's been corporatized and turned into a product to sell, or I should
Yeah.
just say a selling point more so than something to actually celebrate.
When it comes to the point of acceptance being used to sell something, like, I knew that corporations were absolutely evil, but this is almost devastating to America, and it'll be still used to sell something, and it's like nobody cares and nobody's talking about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's freaking stupid, man.
It really is. Whenever we should be having a month about acceptance, coming out, and the celebration of different people and minorities who aren't minorities, which I'll get into a little bit later.
Oh boy,
Uh,
Oh,
semi-bisexual.
Whenever we should
things
have
will
a
get
month
heated.
celebrating all this stuff, now it's just a month where corporations are able to make as much money as possible by putting a rainbow on everything.
Corporations in June. Money.
And to a lesser
Corporations in
extent,
July, well, we hate gays now.
and to a lesser
Exactly.
extent, they also do that to women during like National Women's Day or whatever, and then
It's Women's Month.
that kind of just makes fun or makes a big joke about feminism, which is also a really big, thing that's running out in America. And there's a lot of divide in America right now, and instead of being talked about and fixed, it's being once again used to sell shit like her she's, which is something that was actually made and packaged by the Hershey's brand, which is so moronic just because it's so unbelievably lazy, and it's so easy to see how lazy and how no work was put into it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, it's freaking stupid.
Mm. And then, with the whole thing about minorities I was talking about earlier, it's a whole thing of, at this point, it's very specific on who is minorities and who's not. And by that, I mean everyone's a minority now, except for straight white people. Straight white males
They
at
were
that.
males, yeah.
Yeah. Which
Sounds
makes
about right.
which makes it so that at this point straight white males are the minority
Yeah.
as
Exactly.
opposed.
It's really weird. It's like we're the minority, but by being the minority, by it's like we're the minority now. Everyone else is the minority now, but by doing that, you make them the minority. And then they were already the minority in the first place because majority of the population in the entire world lives in Asia. So I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
I
the-
do
We don't
love
need that.
minority gang wars.
bro. Can you cease? That's my only question. Is can you cease?
I feel like the problem with the LGBTQIA plus or whatever is honestly just a contest to feel different. It's a way to try to express yourself and make yourself feel different than everybody else when instead of bettering yourself and making yourself an individual, you create these identities that don't exist to do it for you. Such like, uh, semi bisexual and apparently omnisexual, which is a thing. Now, let me tell you the difference between omnisexual and pansexual. Pansexual is the gender blind.
Attraction to pans, problem solved.
it's gender blind rather than like, you know, it's very strange. And then omnisexual is you also like everybody of every gender, but for different reasons, which is weird, and it's very pointless. The only difference between omnisexual and pansexual is that pansexuality doesn't care what, you know, gender or identity you have. They just, you know, feel attracted to you anyways. Well, omnisexual is taking note of, you know, everybody's identity and being attracted to everybody. It means nothing. It means the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
There's like 30, probably more than 31 since I last checked, sexualities and genders at this point. It's like there's so many different pronouns people go by. There's so many different sexualities people go by, and half of them do not matter. Not even half, just the majority of them do not matter
and,
or
like,
are the same thing as something else,
I get
making it
doing
so that
that,
it just
but it's
is not needed.
well, I was gonna say. So I get like if you prefer something or you want to identify something, that's cool. But you should do it because you want to do it, and that's who you are, not because I need to be more.
Because I'm so special and so quirky, guys.
Exactly. Like
I
it's literally become a popularity contest. It's
I
like
At this point,
completely agree.
yeah,
And
at this point, oh, sorry.
I was about to say but that there is a certain point. There is that important distinction that a lot of people don't make. Like, say, what's his fucking name? The guy that talks fast and is like 6'2" or whatever. Ben Shapiro, what, right?
Uh,
Is that him?
hypothetically.
Hypothetically, the fucking hypothetically guy. He watches this video and he's reacting to this uh, person saying, "Oh, neo pronouns, Z, them, fucking whatever. You can have your own individual pronouns in order to identify something else." Although I do agree that that's a lot to take note of. He opens up with the idea that anything else other than men, woman, and trans is completely ridiculous. And I do have to disagree with that to some extent because if somebody just doesn't feel like them, they are going to identify as something else.
Yeah. And
yeah, I completely agree with that.
it kind of ties back to the whole thing, like, you know, all those people now that are like faking disabilities and faking all this other stuff just to get like views on like TikTok and just social media in general. Like, people be taking things that are generally regarded as something you do not want to have and are not fun to have, and spinning it into this whole thing where it's uh become this thing that everyone thinks, oh, hey, that's so quirky, that's fun, that looks like it's fun to have, hey, look, that's not as bad as it actually is. And not only that, but they're also giving a fake presentation as to what it is, making it so that it just ends up being you're faking a mental disability with effects that aren't don't even come with the disability. You know?
I remember there was this person on the internet. I don't even remember what they were, but they were acting like they had Tourette's syndrome. You know, the thing where you have a bunch of tics
Mm.
and, you know, hamming it up for a video. And they had a disease that was kind of like Tourette's, but it wasn't Tourette's. So immediately once she was found out, she went into the defensive mode of, oh, wow, I made people feel accepted in my community that way. And because of that happened, I am therefore immune to all criticism, which is A, untrue. Everybody's immune. Nobody in this world is immune to criticism, whether you like it or not. And then B, it was also kind of a shitty thing to do because I've had tics, and I don't have Tourette's syndrome, but I did suffer from uh, when I took many meds that led to something similar as tics, where you have to make that certain movement, that very uncomfortable movement, and after a while, that gets really painful and really uncomfortable. And it's just such a terrible thing to do, to act as if you had something even similar to that.
For real though.
And then
Like
it's
I
even worse to try to defend yourself by saying that you made people feel accepted in the community when their
You did quite the opposite.
underlying issues lie so much deeper than just acceptance sometimes.
Exactly. People hide under the veil of acceptance and what's it called? Awareness that it just doesn't it undercuts the actual value of acceptance and awareness and
Exactly.
the value that it has. Cuz like
Exactly.
whenever people are doing this whole thing like faking like uh dissociative identity disorder or tics, Tourette's, anything like that, and then making this whole false, pretty much propaganda at this point, where they give this false view of what this is, and then you compare it to someone who actually has it and can testify that no, this is not what it's like. It is not fun to have. It's painful, and it sometimes can like ruin conversations, mess with your life, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It ultimately undercuts the actual problem that these disabilities give to people and instead replaces it with something that's overall worse.
On the other hand, the third hand, there's a lot of individuals that are suffering from, actual legitimate issues that are hamming it up just, for sympathy points, which which might not be as irrelevant, but it's still important for me to talk about. I, as some people know, have this, you know, disease, this chronic disease known as ulcerative colitis, and it's a horrible thing to have. But a lot of individuals use it to try to say, "Oh man, my existence is in pain," and wow, it's such a terrible thing. There was a Kickstarter I remember for like a bunch of queer people that were having issues with like physical problems such as ulcerative colitis, and that is an issue. But at the very same time, the last thing that I would do as somebody with a physical medical issue that's not only extremely painful but also really really horrible to talk about. Like I really hate talking about it so much when I'm not talking about other people. It's just a slap in the face.
Yeah, to see these people online talk about disabilities, mental disabilities, physical disabilities, and trying to like hype it up as if it's something cool, essentially making fun of people who actually have it, and then testifying as if they're doing the right thing. It makes it more insulting. It's really not a good thing.
Not at all.
And then there's I don't even think we talked about the people that were faking being paraplegic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
If I mean, ulcerative colitis is not that big of like a disability to me in my current life. Maybe down the line when I'm 80, I'll probably like suffer a flare and then I'll explode and die and whatever. Oh my god, it's horrible. Whatever. But right now, I'm not letting it stop my physical life. But when it comes to people that are paraplegic, that have, like hands missing, arms missing, legs missing, and it's so much more difficult to, like, even get around the house and do normal things, I cannot physically imagine the amount of disgust or physical horror or anger that somebody might feel to someone that's giving away, that is legitimately giving up their right to be normal just so they can get sympathy points. And then they can just immediately, once that's done, turn around, get up out of their wheelchair, and then continue like nothing happened.
Yeah, it's horrible. It really is. Yeah, there's yeah. uh, but now, moving on, I would like to kind of finish off this whole recording session by talking about the most controversial topic that we have here, BLM, because you can't have a controversial video without talking about BLM and everyone getting offended.
I do kind of want to squeeze Antifa in there somewhere, though.
So,
I have one thing to say and one thing to say only.
what's that?
I human beings should treat other human beings as human beings.
Exactly.
Period.
And that's kind of my first problem with BLM.
No further
And
explanation needed.
I'm not talking about the movement BLM, because the movement BLM is, even though they're not really aligned in what their statement is saying it is aligned with, it's still doing more than BLM the organization. Because BLM the organization, no. It is the worst. Do not dedicate money to that organization, because they will use it on mansions, hide it for you for 2 years, and use the money to pay off members' baby daddies and throw birthday parties in a mansion that they bought.
I've never heard you say the term baby daddy, and I clearly don't like it.
You're welcome. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing with BLM, is that they lie to people, dodge questions and criticism, and then also hide things from people when asked where money is going, especially when it comes to things like mansions, and they give the worst reasons as to why they're doing this. We're buying these mansions to help black creators and content creators, because that makes sense, definitely.
You could
Yes.
shorten all this down by saying it's a joke.
Yeah. Yes, and BLM is a joke.
Yeah, pretty much, but I do want to go in depth, so there's that.
Good point. Good point.
Gotta stretch that runtime, baby.
Gotta get that demonetization.
Exactly.
I've been doing a lot of thinking.
We're gonna get so much demonetization that it will
You
reverse
fucking son of a bitch. I've been doing a lot of thinking as to where I am ethnically, because I don't exactly think I'm white. I don't. My skin is yellow. I'm not brown. I got curly hair.
I mean, you're literally half.
A lot of people have, a lot of African Americans, consider me to be, just a light skin, and I don't know, man. I don't know where I am.
I mean, you're
I don't know
literally half.
I don't exactly know where I can get my 2 cents in, but I also have to think about the amount of absolute horrible shit that these people have been through And then think about the protests that have done nothing for these people. And
Exactly.
then it kind of just, I don't know. I don't think I can possibly imagine what it's like to be held at gunpoint, telling me to do something that I know will get me shot. And I've seen that happen with so many people, and it's fucking scary to think that these people exist. To think that, you know, the amount of racism that is in this world, most of those people in power, how easily your life is affected by just one person looking to ruin it. And it's, I don't know, I once again don't have any words that can possibly describe how upset or scared I am about going out into this world and just having everything be changed by one point, by one person that just wants to hurt me for no reason. Because I looked different or I had a different viewpoint. And that's just the issue with the left and right ideologies, is that everybody is so looking forward to crush their enemies with a giant hammer and not thinking about what does the other person think? What families do they have? What experiences have they gone through? I get that there are going to be really, really shitty people out there, but I also get that I shouldn't be. My family, my friends shouldn't be at risk. Their lives shouldn't be in danger because of shit like this happening.
Yeah, exactly. And that is like there's problems on all sides. First of all, there's racists who are well racists, and they discriminate against people based off of skin color and not who they are as a human being. They judge them before they even get to know them, you know? And that's just terrible. And organizations like BLM aren't making things any better by propagating stuff, lying to the people that support them, and
Mhm.
discarding any criticism as a right-winged arguments or agendas or whatever. You because anytime you people would bring up criticism to BLM, they'd always just either deflect it or just say that's a right wing talking point. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's criticism.
Yeah.
You're supposed to take criticism and improve using the criticism that you're given. And not only that, but the BLM overall has just changed from Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter only when it's relevant to our agenda,
Mm.
because that's literally what happens. You don't hear about black on black crime being reported by BLM. If all Black Lives Matter, why don't they talk about black on black crime? Why do they
It's
only report about police brutality and spin some stories to make it out to be a Black Lives Matter argument whenever the situation is truthfully not that?
I mean, yeah, if you look at it, BLM just only does white on black.
Exactly. They only report about stuff whenever there's a color difference, which is in of itself kind of racist.
But they don't report black on white either. If you, it's always
Exactly. Like,
white on black.
And then that just even creates more divide, because if an African American is just, you know, in confrontation with somebody that's, you know, white in America, and then nobody reports on it, and then the opposite happens, and then the opposite happens for revenge and revenge and revenge and revenge and revenge, and there's no end to it.
Yeah.
There's no satisfaction, there's no peace, there's no final blow. It's just pointless, mindless dying and hurting just to get back at the other guy because nobody talks about either side as if both things don't happen.
Exactly. That's all I really have to say is just exactly. Because there was a story a while back that no one really had the full context for until later. And the story pretty much goes that there was this pregnant black lady who got shot by police uh, for resisting arrest. First of all, and that's how it was kind of spun by BLM by saying, "Oh, look at the racist cops again. They're doing racist things."
Yeah.
But when in all actuality, the pregnant lady had a gun, which police misconstrued for a knife somehow. But she had a gun and she was planning on using it against the police. And whenever she got shot, she would not drop the gun. So the police in question was protecting himself by shooting in order to disarm the person. Could they have used the taser? Yes. Could they not have shot 6 times? Yes. But you never know with these things. And if there was black lady kills a police officer, no one would have talked about it.
True.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Man, it is scary. I don't think I've taken time to think about how spooky it is to live in this world in constant fear.
I mean, you don't have to live in constant fear. You just have to be aware of what's going on around you, who's around you, and the events that are taking place around you. Because things are alright until something happens. But yeah, this is terrible.
I also
Really
do
is.
want to talk about the radical movement Antifa, which I said I was going to try to get Antifa in here somewhere.
Sure. Do your thing. I wasn't planning on this, but yeah, do your thing.
I remember this story of what's that? You remember that guy in the Joker makeup? You know that
Oh,
bunch
Walking
of
Phoenix.
Republican bullshit.
Oh
No,
no,
not what. It's the real dude. You know, the
Oh.
Omega guy. That guy.
Oh,
The
that guy. Yeah.
Gypsy Crusader.
Gypsy Crusader. That's
There we
right.
go. I was wondering who you were talking
He
about.
he actually got into, you know, doing that shit. He wasn't even a Republican. He was a centrist. He was a complete pure centrist, and he was also a reporter that was going to, you know, a Republican movement thing to report on it. And Antifa showed up, thought he wasn't even allowed in because he didn't have tickets. And Antifa showed up, thought he was going to support the rally, and then was about to beat him the fuck up. And then all of a sudden, uh, I don't even remember. It was the something boys, the brownie boy, the two boy. I don't remember, man. But they went to beat him up, and then all of a sudden the talkers came out from the stage and noticed that he was about to get his ass kicked, and then they were like, "All right, well, we're gonna help you, fuck these guys up." And the dude said that if he went home bloody, bruised, and beaten, he probably would have died, but he wouldn't have lived the life that he had now. And but that didn't happen. They fought. Those dudes won. They managed to not get their asses kicked, and then they went home to then later on have Gypsy Crusader's life ruined by Antifa. Just because he didn't want to get hurt or injured. He lost his job. He lost a lot of his, family respect. All because,
All because he wanted to protect himself.
pretty much at this point, protecting yourself in a world like this isn't viable. It's not something that can happen without,
Criticism.
consequence anymore.
I wouldn't say criticism, ridicule. That's a better word for it. Huh?
Harassment.
Right. Harassment.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, he just kept, in order to get back on Antifa, he just kept. He started a YouTube channel where he did, his normal Gypsy Crusader shit of like, oh wow, black people, whoa, that's crazy. And then eventually he got swatted, and then he became more radicalized as a result. And then as a result of that, he kept doing that, and he kept being Gypsy Crusader. And then after that, finally, the government realized that he was too radicalized, and they didn't swat him, but they put him under charges of gun ownership, quote unquote illegal gun ownership. Of he wasn't able to own a gun at a time, but he did anyways. And they were gonna put him in for, he said, up to 1 or 2 years, but then I don't know, man. I don't know what happened after that.
Something happened and he got out. He was able to evade it or something.
So that was the story of Gypsy Crusader, someone that was needlessly thrown in and radicalized because somebody misconstrued that he had a different idea than him. Misconstrued. It's not even enough nowadays to just have a different opinion. You have to be misconstrued to have a different opinion than you do in order to get harassed and have your life taken away.
Yeah, pretty much say
he was
one wrong
fired.
thing. Or sorry.
No, I was just going to say that he was fired from his job as, working, I think it was Taekwondo. He was swatted, his family was harassed. All because,
Because they know him.
yeah.
It's crazy because like you do one wrong thing, say one wrong thing, or get misconstrued or misinterpreted as saying the wrong thing, you'll get canceled online, potentially doxxed, harassed. People around you can get harassed and potentially doxxed as well. You can lose out on job opportunities. Your entire future could be ruined just by saying one wrong thing, doing one wrong thing, or just the public saying, hey, that guy sucks.
But real question though, can you really get canceled if you genuinely don't care?
Yes. It's called doxing and harassment and graffiti and murder.
Someone got canceled like 1 or 2 years back for using a hairstyle in Animal Crossing, and I'm not joking, you could look this up, but someone actually got canceled and harassed due to having a different hairstyle than what their character's skin color was. They used a hairstyle in Animal Crossing that was regarded as a commonly black hairstyle, and then they got canceled pretty much and harassed and bullied off of the internet because of Animal Crossing, their hairstyle in a game.
Of all things to get cancelled for, it's got to be the stupidest one.
Exactly. You can get canceled over pretty much just anything at this point, and that brings up a nice point about cancel culture and what people say are cultural appropriation, because it's not cultural appropriation.
It's sharing of cultures, which is misconstrued as cultural appropriation by people that don't understand what it's like to have your culture appropriated.
Unless your culture is being made fun of, torn apart, or belittled by the person using it, it's not cultural appropriation. Because cultural appropriation is an offensive thing and is used by people who want to belittle someone else's culture. Not baking a Asian recipe when you're not Asian. That's not cultural appropriation. That is making an Asian recipe. It's the sharing and connection of cultures, and people regarding things as cultural appropriation, racist, all these isms and phobias. It just separates everyone more and puts a further divide between everyone.
It's like at this point, people have said
if
that
you-
pride
if
is the
you-
worst thing,
yeah.
and then nobody cares anyways, and continues to do it because if you're if you lost the argument, you're the worst person.
I mean, at this point, you just look at someone and you'll get cancelled.
Exactly. This is terrible. You could have your whole future ruined just by stating your opinion online. And
Which is what we're risking right now.
yeah, but here's the thing. I'm a small YouTube channel where it's mostly friends and family that watch my YouTube videos and listen to my podcast. If I was, let's say, a YouTuber with like, say, 100 subscribers,
It decently
1,000,
says
a
YouTuber.
million, I would probably instantly get canceled for just saying I don't like BLM as an organization in anywhere in the video.
You're not even allowed to have a political opinion at all if you have, you know, a few people following you, because you remember Scott Cawthon that donated
yeah.
to donated to a Republican once, and then everybody canceled him, doxed his family, threatened his children, so then he just left his video game for other people to pick it up later.
Yeah.
And then it got ruined because people are stupid
still-
and don't know how society works.
When the dude even was once again a centrist that voted libertarian many times. Anyways,
Yeah,
and then there's also on the other side individuals that don't like, say, people that like Markiplier or whatnot, just because of who he voted for.
or PewDiePie for being misconstrued as a Nazi and racist.
The
And
one
then-
episode from Scare PewDiePie.
Anyways, yeah.
It just goes to
no,
show.
there's no. You're not able to vote anymore. Is apparently the message here. You're not able to vote. You're not able to have a political opinion at all in this climate
You're
anymore.
not able to have any opinion. What are you talking about? But yeah, overall, it's just it just goes to show you anyone can get canceled, harassed, doxxed, and their entire future ruined just out of nowhere, pretty much. Like, you say something 3 years ago, 5 years ago, put it online, and someone digs it back up 7 years later when you're a completely changed person from then, and then you could just get canceled or just have everything ruined. Your entire life could be ruined just out of nowhere. And luckily
Good.
for luckily for most of us here, we don't really have to worry about that possibility, at least not right now, as there's not much that can be taken from this, and not much that can be taken from us as people overall.
I wouldn't say anything. No, don't.
I'm gonna jinx it.
I mean,
Don't jinx it.
I'm
Please.
pretty much mostly safe. I like if I record a video, just like a vehicle gameplay or just me playing War Thunder or a game in general without commentary. So
Yeah, exactly. If anything, me and Hunter run the most risk because we're the weird people that decide to actually state our opinions online.
Oh,
Big
wow, you said your
mistake.
opinion? You're not allowed to say your opinion. You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, I recommend checking out that one video by Sir Pelo, where it's called
Opinions?
My Opinion. Yeah, and yeah,
And once again, check
it's
out Psych2Go. Really fantastic YouTuber. I can't believe I'm stating this, but I'm I'm shouting out a YouTuber that's hundreds of times bigger than I am. Don't worry about it.
make sure you also look, at least take a look at Healthy Gamer GG and Psych2Go videos, as they could really help you with mental health. Do not mistake these videos for something that you could diagnose yourself with. No. If you have troubles and think that you should get diagnosed with something, or that you do have something, do not say that you have it, and perhaps go talk to a professional about it and make sure that you're actually doing good instead of relying on YouTube videos to diagnose yourself. And
You don't want
also
to
make
end up
sure to
like one of the
go
self-diagnosed people in the video that we talked about.
exactly. And make sure to check out that one video by Sir Pelo. All three, or I will be linking all of these things down in the description. And anyone have any closing statements before I do the outro?
Furry Nazi Hitler signing out. Or Donald Trump, damn it.
All right. Well, we'll see you all later. Happy Pride Month. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. And we'll see you all next time whenever we get into some political turmoil or get canceled or something.